This is the True Self Manifestation Podcast, and I am your host, Angel Menudo. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, IFS-informed coach, and a little woo. Through the years, I've tried all the things to manifest the life I've always wanted, and with much exploration and curiosity, I've learned something major about manifestation. To successfully manifest, we must be in our worth and in alignment with our true self and the universe. And to do this, I use internal family systems to delve deep into addressing potential blocks and barriers that impact self-worth. Each week, I'll show you how to harness IFS to connect with your true self, boost self-worth, and conquer the barriers holding you back in life. Join me on this journey to live authentically, break free from limitations, and manifest your best life. It's not a coincidence you're here. Welcome to the True Self Manifestation Podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is episode 19 of the True Self Manifestation Podcast. Today is going to be all about New Year's, getting ready for the new year. 2024 is upon us, and it is going to be chock full of valuable information, exercises, and the way to make the most out of New Year's and setting you up for a magnetic year possible. Some of these things that I'm going to suggest today are probably things you do. You know, you probably already do some of these things. But maybe what I'm talking about today has maybe a different perspective, a different flair, a different something. You never know. Who knows? So I'm hoping to inspire you to have, like I said, your most magnetic 2024. And this is an episode that you might want to listen to a couple times, maybe take notes. You can also go to the show notes link at this podcast, wherever you're listening, to read this and the exercises. So let's get into it. New Year's is actually my absolute favorite holiday. And that's because it's that feeling of new beginnings. And it has this hopefulness that really resonates with me. Each year, I spend time before the new year to explore how I want my year ahead, like to look and feel like for me. I really enjoy getting set up so that I'm going into this new year. I wouldn't say even prepared necessarily, although it is kind of prepared, but it's kind of this is I'm setting myself up for success, I guess you could say. And what I do with this is I examine what I want to ask the universe to help me bring into the coming year. What is in alignment with me, my true self? So because of that, I have created and adopted rituals that I do either on New Year's Eve or the week leading up to New Year's Eve, and then doing some stuff on New Year's Eve. But this is so that I can head into the new year intuitively and with intention to unlock possibilities, to elevate my manifestations. In the weeks before the new year, I begin to reflect, contemplate, and tune in to prepare to let go of the past year and move forward, ready for the new one. Because it's not just about setting yourself up for success, like I had said earlier, but also, what do I not want to bring with me? And that's really about that possibility, right? Those are the possibilities of I don't want certain thoughts or behaviors or patterns or limiting beliefs to follow me anymore. And so I'm setting myself up with the fullest of intentions to be authentically myself. And that's what this is all about. By doing these rituals, I'm tapping into my true self, my intuition, so that I can tune in to my authentic wants and needs and tune in and connect with the universe. Tapping into true self connects us with the universe, and we need to connect with the universe to manifest. If you're new to this podcast, you might be asking yourself, how do I know I'm in true self? According to internal family systems, we look for the 8 C's: to tell us that we've tapped into true self or not. We don't need all of them. We just need one. But the 8 C's are curiosity, creativity, compassion, confidence, clarity, courage, calmness, connectedness. In other words, are you feeling open? Open to possibilities, open to what is coming up for you at that moment. You can ask yourself these questions, and they're actually great to journal as well. Can you think of a time where you felt any of these? When was the last time you were curious about something, felt confident, creative, felt a sense of calmness come over you? This is true self. Can you remember that feeling? Can you recreate it? Tap into it? What would you need to do this? Now I want you to just get quiet for a few moments. Think about that time you felt like you were in true self. And then really, really notice it. Notice how you were feeling. What do you notice in your body? Can you feel it again right now? Maybe it's relaxed. Maybe it's a lack of tension, a lack of tightness. Maybe you've noticed a little tingly, possibly less noise in your mind. This is true self. This feeling, this energy shift when you feel like you're in true self, this is getting you aligned with the universe. This is where the magic happens. So you can do this whenever, right? Like you can take a couple of deep breaths. You can just kind of tune in, get in alignment, notice the shift of energy. And that's how you know, okay, I'm connecting. I'm aligning with my true self, which is important for the things that we want to do while we're trying to get ready for our New Year's and these exercises. For the past few years, I've began the new year choosing a word of the year. You've probably heard of this. It's probably something you already do. For the power of a single word can keep us on track, focused, and motivate us. And that's the thing. That word has power if you choose to let it have power. If we are intentional with choosing the word, just like the words we use every day, language has power. We have the opportunity to choose our words with intention. And you might ask, why focus on a single word? But I like to think of my word of the year as my beginning point, my framework for what I want to bring in, what I want to co-create with the universe. It's the big picture look at what I want to focus on in my life for the coming year. To choose a word, you would take a moment to get into true self, just like I explained a couple minutes ago. Notice the shift of energy. Now ask yourself, what do I want to bring in this coming year? Or you can ask yourself, what do I need to be open to? Or what do I need in this coming year? Choose whatever question that calls to you, or choose whatever maybe is floating in your mind on your own, and then just listen. The word might pop up right away in your mind, or it could take some time. If it doesn't come right up for you, that's okay. It might pop up later. Suddenly you might notice that you're hearing a specific word over and over again. Just notice any clues, any nudges from the universe. You'll know when you found it. Once you have the word of the year, write it down. Put it somewhere where you can see it. A great idea is to make your word of the year as like a wallpaper on your phone. And if a wallpaper, like a phone wallpaper, isn't your thing, then write it on paper, pin it somewhere. You can get creative with it. You can use like colored pens or markers, stickers, make it on your computer, print it out, whatever like calls to you. Get creative with it. Creativity is, one of the 8 C's, true self. Let it be something that you can see often. So it can be that gentle, constant reminder of where you are, right? Of like where you want to be, of that big picture framework. And then after you choose the word of the year, you can start setting intentions. And again, like I said, like this is something that can be broken up into days. It could be something that you do all in one day. It's up to you, but that's why like it's, there's like steps. Well, I like to take steps. I mean, you can take what you like. You don't have to do all of them. You can do one, you can do none. I mean, it's up to you, but it's kind of nice too to maybe break it up a little bit. But anyways, on to setting intentions. You might be asking, Angel, what's the difference between an intention and a resolution? The difference is a resolution is focused on fixing a part of you that you're not happy with. It's centered around what you perceive is wrong with you, and you are resolving to fix it, with a focus being more negative towards ourselves. So like an example of a resolution would be, I will exercise more, or I will lose weight, get organized, eat better. See how they focus on what's wrong with you? An intention, on the other hand, doesn't imply that there's something that you need to be fixed. Instead, it focuses on where you would like to see yourself. It creates abundance in your life without having to go down the rabbit hole of what's wrong with me that needs fixing. So examples of intentions are, I intend to have a healthy relationship with my body, mind, and soul. I intend to be in tune with the moment. I intend to praise progress and forget perfection. Can you see the difference between the two? Now, going deeper into this, resolutions are derived from the parts of you that think you need fixed for whatever reasons. These reasons could be because you want to be loved, feel deserving, societal or family pressures, or to be accepted, just to name a few reasons. Intentions are derived from true self. True self doesn't focus on the negative aspects of ourselves. That's because true self doesn't care about societal or family pressures. True self already feels deserving, worthy, accepted. True self wants you to succeed and live an abundant life. And intentions are manifestations, and powerful ones at that. This is because they're in alignment with our true self. And so now that you know and have the difference between intentions and resolutions down, and why setting intentions can be powerful manifestations, to start setting intentions, you will again take a few minutes connecting with your true self, take a few cleansing deep breaths, and as you do, imagine with each inhale, you're connecting more and more with your body. And every exhale, you are releasing any tension or tightness you notice in your body. With each breath, you are getting more and more into a relaxed state. Now keep in mind your word of the year. What does this evoke in you? How can you expand on this in the form of an intention? Or what would you want to cultivate in your life this upcoming year? When you think of an intention, what would this feel like? What would it look like? How would your life be different if you felt this way? Really notice how this feels in your body, the emotions this evokes in you. Sit with these feelings and really help your mind understand that this is possible. Those intentions you're setting can happen and will happen. I gave a couple of examples of intentions earlier, but here are a few more to inspire you. I intend to embrace change and vulnerability. I intend to work with a peace of mind that I have loved, regardless of the outcome. I intend to live in the moment without worrying about the past or future. I intend to live more compassion for myself and with others. So now it's your time to tap into your true self and create a couple or a few intentions that resonate with you and how you would like to manifest your life in the coming year. Let your intentions help guide your decisions and thought processes. Put them on paper, document, note app, something, so that you can see them as reminders throughout the year as well, just like with your word of the year. After you do this, after you make your intentions, I want you to just kind of tune in, align with your true self, and see how it feels to accomplish this. How does it feel to accomplish the idea of tapping in and aligning with your true self in the universe? How does it feel to have this word of the year that came to you intuitively as in true self? How does it feel to make these intentions that are aligned with authentic you, true self? Notice what's coming up. Are you noticing a feeling of calmness, possibly relaxed or excited? Or maybe there's a little voice in there saying something to the effect of, why do you need to give yourself credit for this? Or there's something inside that's maybe giving you some pushback on this. This could look like, I don't have time for this, or I need to do X, Y, and Z before I can even think about spending a few minutes, even trying to come up with this like word of the year and intention and true self. Just take a minute and notice what it is that's coming up for you right now. Don't try to dismiss it, avoid it, or push it away. None of that. Instead, I invite you to get curious about it. What is it saying? What feelings does it evoke? Are you ready to end the unconscious cycles and patterns sabotaging your manifestations and experience true magnetism without the blocks from past programming, conditioning, and limiting beliefs so that you can manifest your most amazing life? If you said yes, then I invite you to check out my e-course, How to Manifest Without the Self-Sabotage. This e-course uses techniques from internal family systems to help you align with your true self energy and begin working with those parts of you that have been sabotaging your manifestations. By using these evidence-based practices, you are shifting perception of yourself and the world around you at the root, helping you reprogram and retrain your brain so it is no longer running off of invisible scripts based on past programming, conditioning, and limiting beliefs. Use code 50OFF for $50 off your purchase of How to Manifest Without the Self-Sabotage e-course. The link is in the show notes. Don't wait. Grab this transformative e-course today and start manifesting your most amazing life. This is a part. It's a part of you, just like you have true self, you have your parts. We all have parts. And as you've heard me say many, many times before, like this doesn't mean that you have some type of mental health disorder or anything like that. It's absolutely normal to have parts. I mean, it's just another way of explaining aspects of our personality in reality. And I find that the sooner that we embrace our parts, all of our parts, the easier it is to shift into living an authentic life that is in alignment with our true self and the universe. I wrote a blog post called Self-Sabotage and Manifestation that gets more in depth about our parts. So I'll put a link in the show notes so you can read that. But right now, I'll share with you a quick little excerpt of it. And then if you want to read more, you can just click the show. But using internal family systems parts, perspective lens, our self-sabotaging behaviors are parts of us. These parts took on new jobs or roles in our childhood as a reaction to what we're dealing with at the time. Our parts have positive intentions. For example, if a caregiver was critical of us, a part of us will take on this role. The intention is to keep us in line, to try to mitigate the caregiver being critical of us. Or another example is the people pleaser part. This part most likely came out of fear of rejection, abandonment, or insecurities. That is picked up earlier in life. So what does all of this even have to do with manifestation? Through the years, as a therapist and in my own personal explorations of manifestation, I found that the key to manifesting is being in your worth. And to be in your worth, you need to be in alignment with your true self and with the universe. When we have these parts that I had just talked about getting in the way because they take on these different roles, these different jobs, it actually really lowers our self-worth. We're being ran really on these invisible scripts, limiting beliefs, past programming and conditioning from childhood, and from past relationships, all of these things. And it really clouds being able to get in alignment with our true self. It clouds us being able to be authentically us. And so when we can recognize these parts, we can work with them so that they can give us some space, so that we can align with the true self, with our true self, with the universe. And this is how we can manifest. Because the thing is that we can't actually get rid of our parts. They don't go away, despite how much you might want them to, or I should say a part of you wants them to. And that's because they're just as important as true self is. Sometimes they take on those roles and stuff and they don't really fit anymore with what they're doing and what we need in our life. But that's how we work with them. But we can ask the parts to unblend. What I mean by unblending with a part is, I like to use this analogy, is that when a part is blended, it's like kicking us out of the room and barricading the door shut. We don't feel like we have any control. It's a flood of thoughts, feelings, body sensations. Think about the last time you felt anger, anxiety, guilt. What did it feel like? What were the emotions, the thoughts? What were the feelings in your body? What did you do because of this? Did you do something you later regretted? Did you maybe miss out on an opportunity that was perfect for you, but you were too fearful to move forward in it? Did you do something that you just didn't want to because maybe you felt guilty or couldn't say no, even though you really freaking wanted to? What if you could actually make space between those feelings, those thoughts, the body sensations? This is what unblending from a part means. And actually, it's quite simple. First, it's important to notice and have that awareness of what's going on inside, to be connected to ourselves. As a society, women especially are very disconnected from our bodies and from many of our emotions. This means checking in with yourself throughout the day to see what's going on. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? What body sensations are coming up? Do this quite often, just throughout the day, like a couple times a day, 3 times a day, whatever, just do a quick little check-in. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? What body sensations are coming up? This is how we start to feel more and more connected as to what in the world is happening inside of us, so that we gain this knowledge and we gain this awareness. And then this is when we can start to take control of things. And as you begin to become more aware of what's going on, you can begin to determine what part is taking over. And this is where the magic happens. When you notice a part taking over, you're going to acknowledge it by saying something to the effect of, I see you, I feel you. Then you thank it for coming up. Seriously, thank it. Parts love gratitude. Gratitude is good. Our parts love to be acknowledged, validated, thanked. Then let the part know that you can handle whatever it is that prompted the part to come up in the first place. Finally, ask the part to step back, give you some space, or to take a break. And when I say let the part know you can handle it, just be like, hey, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for coming up. But you know what? I think I got this. I can handle it. How about you just take a step back? Just take a break. You can still be around, but I don't need you to be right on top of me, okay? When asking a part to step back, you're asking it to unblend from true self. By doing so, true self you is now in control, and the part has become either the co-pilot or it's taken a break. You will notice that those body sensations, those emotions or thoughts associated with that part have now become much less. They might even be gone. And if the part took a break, they might just be like, whew, gone. Or you just might notice that they're just not as intense. So at the very least, right, like you want that to be less significant. By unblending, you are able to see the situation that prompted the part to come up differently. You can look at it from a different perspective, no longer from the perspective of the part. When you're able to unblend from the parts of you that take over and have them help true self instead of taking over for true self, you're taking things more at face value instead of being clouded by that past programming, limiting beliefs, social pressures or societal norms like family pressures and expectations, no more invisible scripts, no more of all like the baggage that we all have. Because we all have baggage. It's just learning how to deal with that. And, we're not going to sit here and pretend that we don't, because that's not realistic and it's very that's not good for us and it's not good for our parts. So it's about separating, right, and unblending from the parts that are holding on to that stuff so that you can see things differently and from a new perspective that is going to be much more open to things without being clouded. And so after you've chosen your word of the year, you've set intentions, and most importantly, learned how to tap into your authentic true self and unblend from the parts of you that are getting in the way of what you're trying to focus on. Because I'm going to tell you, it's going to be likely that through these exercises, these parts are going to pop in. They're going to be talking your ear off sometimes of why are you doing this? Or this is silly, or what's up with that, or whatever the heck it is. So learning to be aware of the parts and asking them to step back or take a break, giving them some validation, giving them thanks, all of that is going to be so helpful through this. And then when we are able to align with our true self energy, identify and work with our parts, we are building our self-worth. We are connecting with the universe. None of that just think positive or good vibes only or love and light when feeling some type of way. No spiritual bypassing. It's all about you living in alignment with who you are meant to be, how you are meant to show up on this planet, free from limiting beliefs, societal norms and pressures from loved ones, negative self-talk that all chip away at your self-worth. And you don't even realize or even remember who you really are. When we are in alignment, we are who we are meant to be. This is freedom. This is power. This is magnetism. This is how you manifest. And so now, after we've chosen our word of the year, we've set our intentions. And this is something that can actually be done on New Year's, if you would like, on New Year's Eve. And that's why I said you can work your way up to it. But gather your list, gather your intentions, gather all of that stuff. I want you to just take a few minutes, pick a spot that just feels good, that feels relaxing to you. Light an incense, light a candle. You could always cleanse your space somehow, whichever way you would like, right? And then just get quiet. Take a few deep breaths, releasing that tension with each exhale. Aligning with your true self energy, asking your parts that come up to please step aside. Read your word of the year. Notice what feelings it evokes. If the parts are stepped aside, it should be more positive feelings. Do the same with the intentions. Read each one and sit with a feeling around each intention. And remember, if you notice anything other than those 8 C's coming up, it's a part. Ask the part to step aside for a few minutes, then go back to the list. Keep aligning, right, with your true self in the universe. The parts can hang out. They just can't be on you, right? They can, if they want to. I don't know about you, but I don't know, but like for me, a lot of times, like I have to like envision the parts around me, they like to kind of be here, like they like to see what's going on. So they're in the room. They just can't kind of come into like my bubble in a sense. And then this is what you're doing is you're using your true self energy to communicate with the universe how you want to live your life moving forward in this new year. So by getting quiet, by reading your word of the year, noticing the feelings, the body sensations that it evokes, really, really like getting into that, really feeling that, really sitting with that. Same with the intentions, really sitting with those feelings, like good things, right? Like maybe like that excitement or that calmness, whatever it is, right? Like it could be however your intentions make you feel or your word of the year makes you feel. You're setting it in and you're communicating this all to the universe. And this, my dear, is manifesting. This is how it's done. This is what needs to happen, right? So I want you, if you would like, please go forward, do this, start preparing. Just like start getting in there, start coming up with your word, coming up with your intentions, and then really like sit with yourself, feel them, and manifest that shit, man. Like manifest it. I really hope this episode inspired you. And I hope you have an amazing new year and an amazing 2024. Thanks again for being here. It's really exciting. This is like a full year practically of true self manifestation. I want to say I started in February, but I could be wrong. I didn't look. But yeah, I'm excited about the new year. All right, everybody. Thanks. Happy manifesting. See you again soon. Thank you for listening to the True Self Manifestation Podcast. Check out the show notes for any links mentioned on this episode. And while you're there, grab my free guide on how to tap into your intuition. This is the foundation to any manifestation practice. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. And please leave a review where you listen to podcasts. And if you love this episode, share it with a friend. Thanks again. See you soon.